Greetings, I'm Live.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together! Woo!
So we are to I want to call it chapters because this whole thing is a book of Julian. It's the book of Julian. Like, damn you. Wait.
So, chapter 2.
They instantly go past the front. We just go down.
So we were there. We were in the doorway. We were about to go in, and we're down.
We're down. Well, I'm going down.
Hang on.
I'm yelling timber.
1, are the torches still lit?
Apparently.
2, if they're still lit, aren't they almost out of fuel? And 3, wouldn't this individual, Valdemar, find that suspicious? I haven't taken anyone down here in ages. Oh, the torches are still lit from years ago. Amazing.
I really must have been high that last time.
How very convenient. I love it. All right. We enter the secret passage. Oh, sorry.
Astra,
the secret passage.
Astra, I need your secret passage.
It's okay, I'll show you where the secret passage is.
Astra. Ooh la la.
Astra, you're not usually this forward.
I know. It's called a fantasy. This is a dream. We're just in a dream. This is made up.
In a dream, I'll be like, yes.
Yes.
Let me grind on you slowly. It's fine.
Okay.
As prom music plays badly in the background.
I am the saddest date.
All right. As we enter the secret passage, I stumble over the uneven floor in the dark.
Because I'm still not Julian, and that makes sense.
Looks like it's lit, but I'll believe you. You need light, don't you? Yes.
Shockingly.
Valdemar. I want to say Vladimir every time.
No, it's okay. Just think of them as they're just the horse people.
They are. Every time I'm like, it's that book series. It's Valdemar.
It is. It's
right.
It's Mercedes Lackey.
The thing that forever I stayed away from because someone pitched it to me really super weird. When eventually I read it, it's quite good in many ways. It was not at all what I expected, but it is quite good in many ways. All right. Valdemar plucks a torch from an alcove and lights it before continuing deeper into the tunnels. Okay, so before, the fuel was almost out, and we were burning them, so if they're put out, then they've been put out by burning their way down, because Julian hasn't been there.
Right.
And we left that tunnel, which he didn't come up through. He went somewhere else.
We don't know that. That sounded like he followed behind us, basically.
Maybe.
The reason
he came
why
up immediately after us.
Uh-huh.
It's possible. And put out the torches while he was running from whatever the heck he was running from.
He possibly could have. You never
Who
know.
knows?
But the thing that might help you, I have discovered an idea.
Huh.
You could basically give them some weird horsey accent, and it will help you remember.
Oh, I forgot to do the thing.
It's okay.
Okay, it's
You've
fine.
still got time.
All right. So, Valdemar plucks the torch from an alcove and lights it before continuing deeper into the tunnels. I have a feeling they would know the way in the dark. Probably, if they've been there a lot of times.
Oh, now we're not now.
Now we call it a lift. Now it's not a cage in a room with a contraption around.
It's okay. We've already been through this. Suddenly we had lift, and then suddenly we had elevator. We just kind of slowly descended into the pit much faster than these riders have.
But we couldn't have seen, I re-enter the room with the cage inside of the bar enclosure, which I'll call a lift.
It's fine.
It's not dramatic at all. It's just, the lift looms ahead of us in the gloom. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It looms. Valdemar pauses in front of it, running their fingers along the plaque. So dusty. Oh, isn't this plaque just an inspiring decorating choice? They were all so scared of it, the silly little ducklings. Well, we had to send them down one at a time and convince them to send the elevator back up, otherwise we were screwed, so you know. How terribly gullible they were.
I mean, it does seem pretty silly.
Valdemar plucks a key from their pocket. From the glimpse I get, it matches Julian's. Wait! I wanted to try the key again, but Valdemar's already turning it in the lock. The mechanism screeches as the door opens. Did you need something? Yes, I don't actually care. Go on now. That's adorable.
Hello, I am actually Senpai.
Reluctantly, I step into the cage. The doors screech shut, and I pull the lever inside. This is a very weird tour, and they're really like, here, go that way. Don't forget to send the lift back up, if you know how.
Right?
Metal rattles around me and I descend into the darkness. I love the red glow coming up through this thing, where it's just like brilliant fire from the depths below. And actually what we have is poor torchlight backlit over there. Like, because there's no light.
Yeah, no.
This is really accurate illustration. I love it. It's beautiful.
Perfect mood.
As soon as I step out of the lift, it clangs back up again.
Wait. So you don't have to hit anything.
You don't have to do anything.
Hang on.
Also, as soon as I step out into the inky blackness with no visibility at all, would be great, I can barely make out vague shapes in the gloom.
Read. I cannot read worth shit. Nothing's there. It's all darkness.
But when I try to summon light,
It sputters and burns my hands.
It's like the oily darkness around me stifles it. My magic sputters weakly and dies. Why are you trying to summon light?
Especially when before, it's fine.
The mechanism rattles again. So how did he make it stay down here? He'd have had to deliberately make it stay down here if it just automatically goes back up otherwise. Or they really did call it back up with something up on the top, and we really just didn't investigate anything. At all. Like the machine, you could just click it and call the lift, and we just didn't.
That just sounds very frustrating.
We have no curiosity whatsoever. Period.
Point.
I don't care how curious you want your protag to be. The answer is no.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle as Valdemar steps out. Cling. Hang on. Did we end up back upstairs again?
No, they're just reusing. It's fine.
What a cozy ride. Come along. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to see today. I love those gloves. They're amazing.
They really are. I'm like, they're very
brilliant.
elegant.
Also, just the whole folding of the fingers, the templing of the hands is lovely.
The steepling of the fingers.
Steepling,
God,
that's
this
the
is
one,
such...
steepling.
The thing is I've always loved that where they're like, here, let's dissect body language. You ever look at those things? They're like, and if you steeple your fingers, it means this thing. It's like, only sometimes actually in certain cultures.
Can you imagine someone standing there speaking to you, though, with their hands just steepled like that the whole time?
You'd
the
be
amount
like...
of strangeness it would be to
Can you
have them
imagine
just talk to you. They don't gesture, but they hold their hands exactly just so.
I honestly would just be internally going, wow, what a poser.
They briskly stroll down the long, narrow hallway, lighting the other torches as they go. Did we light the first torches? Or do we mean the ones upstairs?
I don't know.
So, you have questions about Doctor number 069, do you? I love the head tilt.
It's very charming.
I have so many questions that they almost run together. Maybe I should start with something simple first. And it's interesting that, again, this person I will insist on this system of demarcation and labeling, when really, like, the whole city it's Julian Dvorak. Like the wanted posters and everything. So it's interesting that they insist upon it. Maybe you can tell me. I don't want to know what he was like.
That's not necessary. What did he do?
I need to know his job.
Well,
I don't care. They have demonstrated that they don't care about people. Like, I'm not interested in whatever it was you wanted just a moment ago. So I would tend to say, what did he do exactly?
What did he do exactly?
What did he do?
Especially in reference to the case, like asking, what was he like, is not going to help you at all.
It doesn't tell us anything about the investigation, which is let me just throw back to what we were hired to do at the beginning of the game.
Yep.
All right. Oh, this and that. I didn't pay much mind to what he did, no more than the other doctors. As I recall, he was always working with leeches, thought blood was the key. If you want specifics, you'll have to ask him yourself. At the end of the hallway, a massive metal door looms ahead of us. I might ask what they were all doing at this point then.
Yeah, I know, I'm like...
Or I should go, in the blood. Key to what?
Right?
Because they either are being edgy and vague, or they literally are going, we assume you know what we're talking about. We just assume you're in the inn because you knew where this passage was.
Honestly, though, the way, if you're going to do an investigation, is really be like, pretend like I don't know anything. So that way you establish what's going on. I know what's going on, and then be like, so tell me, what was going on down here? What is this location for?
Right, and you could be like...
Explain to me the processes that went on down here.
Yes, in the spirit of investigation, pretend I know nothing. Tell me everything, maybe I'll see something I've overlooked. Valdemar pushes it open and leads me into some kind of macabre dressing room. So there were clothes down here, thank God. There are aprons on hooks on the wall and racks of tools. Only aprons? Valdemar puts the torch... What torch?
The torch they were holding.
They were lighting the other torch.
This is again where the hand gesture doesn't actually work because
they're standing there holding a torch.
While they're doing this.
Where they have the hand.
Be in position. Excuse me.
The other hand is just invisibly is steepled against an invisible third hand. They just hold the torch floating beside them.
Honestly, that would be freaking amazing. Just be like, you are holding that so artfully well, as if you really are just positioned perfectly while holding this.
Right, against your other hand. That would be...
You would be like, what are you?
Fascinating. Like, you are so mechanical and strict. That's amazing.
Either that or I'd be like, damn, you really like watching your arm flex, don't you? Because I've sometimes pulled stupid poses where you're just like, look at that. It's a cool thing that I can do with my hands.
Valdemar puts the torch in a holder by the door. Now, please hold questions for the end of the tour. But first...
Oh, so I can ask more questions.
Abruptly, they swerve right in front of me, stepping uncomfortably close. They use their hands to approximate the measurements of my torso and arms.
Oh, we're going to put an apron on.
They're going to protect us.
Oh, cool.
Appropriate. Then, just as quickly, they sweep away toward the equipment.
Good job.
They pluck one of the aprons down from the wall and scoop up a familiar beaked mask from a rack. Beautiful. Let's get you into some safety gear. The apron is splattered with ink and old bloodstains. Valdemar holds it up to me, eyeing the fit. I'm not going to pass on protective equipment, honestly.
Wait, no.
Like, I get that you're suggesting that it could have crap on it, but...
That's also, like, culturally probably more appropriate. Being like, we're the expert here. We have a subject matter expert here going, put these on. I have been through walkthroughs in plants where you're like, this is gross. You put it on anyway.
You have to. Like,
you must trust them.
You cannot go through without wearing the hairnet. You cannot go through without wearing the smock. You are not allowed to go in without the gloves, like all of it.
The masks.
Whether it's your ESD shoes or your nose slip, supports, whatever it is, you've got to wear it. So I'm just going to bear with it. Additionally, like, they are wearing a mask, so they have protective equipment. They're also wearing an apron. It's a struggle to hold still while they clasp me into the apron and mask, because I feel the heebie-jeebies creeping up my spine. Even through their gloves, their hands feel icy cold. Or the gloves feel icy cold, who knows? I grit my teeth. If I have to play along to get answers, then I'll do what I have to. I mean, generally, this shouldn't even really be a reluctant if I have to play along. Investigators play along with the subject matter experts to find things out. Now, again, we are not an investigator. We were just hired as one. We're actually just a mage apprentice. But I feel like Nadia doesn't know where to go to hire good help these days. You just can't get good help these days.
You just really can't hire good help these days. It's quite disappointing.
For Julian's sake. It's all for Julian's sake. Just close your eyes and think of Julian. Oh, God. Perfect. Now, right this way. They unlatch the other door and push it open. I catch a whiff of stale, fetid air from inside. I'm finally getting to talk to myself. I'm so charmed.
I know! You're like,
I'm waiting for this for games. There's so many games where we pick voices for the different characters, and we almost never end up talking to ourselves, even if sometimes it's like a heavy burden of the scene on one person or another. And this is lovely.
Well, I will be very jealous right now because it's the only thing I have left. So it's okay. I'll just sit here and go,
Yeah, so Scandal's going to stand here and go, well, fine, lies, steal the show. The lingering scent of dried-out herbs in the mask's beak. Cover it. Barely.
Ah, yes, the humors.
Dried out. Oh, yeah, well. Valdemar stops in the doorway, turning to face me. They pull their mask down to uncover their face, and take a deep breath of the rancid air. Now that sounds unsafe. Much better. Is this actually your home environment, then? And now? Wait. And now, the main attraction. I forgot. Oh my God, I could have. They walk backwards into the main chamber. Oh, very theatrical. They come this way. I love it. The first thing I can see is a circular raised stage in the center of the room. All right.
Oh, fascinating.
Is it an operating theater? A metal table with ragged leather restraints is positioned in the middle of the stage. I see you're admiring the stage. We had such fun shows here. Very enlightening. Yes, very good practice. What were you practicing? Medicine, of course. And Dr. Dvorak? He preferred working from observation, always doodling away. To my left, is a row of tables similar to the one on the stage.
That's interesting. I don't care about anyone. I don't barely remember who this individual is, and now I'm going to give you a really weird personal detail.
Let me be dismissive of everything ever until I can be condescending.
Always doodling away.
Yes, keeping visual medical records and or diagrams and or accurate physiological drawings.
They have the anatomical
drawings, that's what I was looking for, is not important at all, not even slightly.
Not compared to active cutting, which is exactly what's going on, yeah.
Vivisection, which I do not support, and just drop that right there.
It's true.
Each one is surrounded by trays of tools, bowls, and jars. The bone saw just in the case is quite a touch.
Uh-huh.
Who lit the chandelier?
It's very charming.
Now, here we have the vivisection tables. It is. They double as dissection tables after a certain point. So you're saying that when you cut something open, it's alive, eventually it dies, and then you're dissecting? Amazing how that works.
Shocking.
That is linguistically appropriate. It's also literally appropriate, because if you keep going, things die.
Uh-huh.
Very secure, especially once we reinforce them. You're very proud, it's fine.
Uh-huh.
I didn't mind when they wiggled, but some people said it was harder to see what they were doing. They gesture with a flourish to a row of cages, miserable, cramped, and just large enough to hold a single person. Well,
They probably, unfortunately, were criminals. They were undesirables, so that would probably be like your street urchins, your street rats, your individuals like your homeless people.
They were sentenced to death. Yes, we did sentence them to death, and then we just didn't do a public execution. They're dead.
There's also that one, too.
It's fine.
Like, actually, that is also historically pretty accurate. A lot of people were like, this is the only way we can study science. Now, historically, so based off of the studies that I ever did in high school in reference to stuff like this...
And this is real-world history.
This is real-world history. People really did do these sorts of things. And I'm not saying they were okay. There was, though, a lot of science where you go, without things like animal studies or studies on people like that, we wouldn't have learned what we did, but also in some ways I question whether or not, even now, whether or not it was actually necessary. There has been many arguments of going, actually, some of this, the level of almost torture, actually, that we put people through.
It could have been learned in other ways and handled very differently.
Yes.
Like, the science they gained was valuable. Their methods were cruel and unnecessary.
That one. Right? It's very important to learn, but is it really that important to learn at the expense of another person? Because also a lot of those people sometimes were slaves. They were literally people who were subjected and had no other way, or they would be like people that literally sold themselves.
So what we're doing is we're digging into a fantasy snippet of a real-world horrible thing that's gone on.
Right, exactly.
These weren't designed for long-term imprisonment. This is where we kept the patients. And the doctors, once they became patients. There was discussion of moving infected doctors elsewhere. Apparently their presence was uncomfortable for others.
I mean, it would make sense, being like, you're going to participate in this program, because I don't know how the recruiting system in this would work, being like, if you ever become infected yourself, you literally cannot leave.
Right? I mean, if you're quarantining things, that's appropriate. And going, if you don't have any other dungeons or places to store them, it's not really appropriate to lead them up through the castle and then out to somewhere else, you know?
Right. But I'm like, also, again, I understand what we're doing is probably justifying something that clearly is meant to be terrible and is being framed as terrible, and I will agree that it is kind of terrible. This character is clearly supposed to be like, I'm reveling not just in going, oh, we're learning something, but they're just reveling, honestly, in...
I like torture.
And that's what this is.
And that's what that's being painted as, and the serene look of, blood splatter and flailing limbs and screaming.
Flaying muscle and tissue.
They were uncomfortable with this, but that's fine. We'll probably put a warning on this episode.
Yeah, probably.
But the plague ran its course too quickly to justify the trouble. Oh, but this is my favorite part. Valdemar pulls a rusty old lever. I do hope they're still doing all right down here. Are the other doctors still here? It's been a while since they've eaten.
Ooh, I love the teeth.
They really go for trouble with the teeth on these guys.
Like, wow.
On the other side of the room is a half-circular pit set into the wall. It looks like a little face. And like it just...
The little eyes! It's the Kirby face. That's actually the Kirby face. Wow.
Yeah, it's fine. Its lid slides into a recess. The work of whatever mechanism Valdemar activated. I can speak. I'm fine. I'm not uncomfortable with the subject matter.
It's okay.
As it recedes, I hear a strange rustling sound from inside the pit. Well, yes. We're gonna have things just seething out of the pit, aren't we?
I
Like
don't
crawling
think
out of it?
so.
No, not rustling. Squelching? Skittering. Skittering. Is it beetles?
Oh, it is beetles.
Oh, are they actually cleaning, like, corpses and bones? So beetles are amazing cleaners of
They
bones.
really are. Oh, so that's where the beetle motif comes from.
It could be.
I wonder if these are basically like, so I'm getting the impression again, where I've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, going, these are all these characters that have these little beetle things going on, and going, what they seem to be is clearly they're not human. They are not even necessarily like some, like, you know, you'd be like, here's your elves, here's your dwarves, whatever. We're trying to take a slow, subtle step maybe in another direction. I'm wondering if, number one, there's something like eldritch creatures, or they're like demons.
So the
like
four of them have something distinctively in common, obviously in their visual styling.
Right.
And also they seem very attached to each other, but detached from everyone else.
Right.
So that hundreds of red carapaces shimmer in the torchlight as beetles swarm over the stark white bones, picked clean.
So I have to tell you,
did we walk over to it to look at?
Apparently.
There's a thing over there. Can we see down into it from over
from
here?
that distance, right? So I gotta tell you, this really reminds me of the Mummy. So I had so many nightmares
About the scarabs?
About the scarabs.
Uh-huh.
My God, they like
Okay,
it wasn't
see,
even
and
just
I'm-
them, but I haven't had that nightmare in such a damn long time. And it's been so good.
Good job. Well, we'll let you know in the next episode whether or not...
I'll let you know whether or not I slept well. And honestly, we'll find out.
All right, so it actually made me think of the movie Relic, wherein you had an archaeologist, and the part of the museum that she actually worked in, and part of it they used like aggressively, was the cleaning of bones by beetles, as well as you got exposed to an entire system of, you know, first address the corpse, then boil down the organic matter, then pull out the bones and give them to the beetles, and then preserve them. It was really cool.
Right. Well,
Anyway, so that's what this made me think of, because they did have actual beetles there doing their good job.
right. And beetles are not inherently a bad thing.
No, beetles are wonderful. We would have so many corpses lying around without beetles. Like, they would take forever to decompose.
know.
And there'd be so much more really increased bacteria.
I love that thing where people complain, apparently in history, going, well, if the battle was here, where were all the bodies and where are all the bones? It's like, you really don't think anything about nature or the animals or the wolves
The
or
world
anything.
eats bones. The world
Eats bodies.
eats corpses. Do you know how many corpses there would be if the world didn't eat them? Every forest would be stacked with corpses.
Uh-huh.
Every biome. It's fine.
It's ridiculous.
And from the sides of the pit, red water drains through the channels bored into the stone.
Okay. Wait,
Like,
is this where the
from
red
the
water
channels?
comes from?
Because
Remember
we're
we went
processing corpses and then the water's draining from
But
them.
the question is who are we processing? There has, as
they haven't
Valdemar
been-
themselves said,
They hadn't
like,
been fed in a while. So when was the last corpse been in here? And that's a lot of damn red water. But is it saying water's being poured into here from somewhere? Because that's what it sounds like. From the side of the pit, red water drains through channels bored into the stone.
I don't think
so
it's
is
supposed to
red
be-
water draining out of here or
Yeah, I
into here?
through channels. I think it's supposed to be draining out.
Okay.
Out of, that's what I'm saying. This water from here, so it's
Are
supposed to be
these
blood.
water beetles?
I think this is supposed to be blood.
Okay, but if they're... The beetles that clean bones work in dry environments.
Oh, yeah.
And they die in wet environments. They actually, mold grows on them. I don't know if you've ever kept a beetle as a pet or had beetles to feed a lizard or any other kind of insectivore, but if you keep them in a damp environment, like with their, they will grow mold actually on their shells and they will die of mold poisoning. They will die of wetness,
bacteria,
like bacteria,
infections, yeah.
They do. They're meant to keep themselves
We understand
dry.
these are fantasy beetles, but this is a thing of also
So are
going,
they
like,
in a damp environment? I've seen that red water before, back when I saw Julian throw his mask into the river. You've also seen it pouring off of one corner of the castle at the beginning of this episode, this story.
Yeah, no kidding.
Red water was flowing from a drain in a forgotten corner of the castle. Thank you. Polluting the aqueduct, supplying the city. Yes. Which means this must be the source.
Yeah.
This one tiny little well is constantly producing so much water that you can visibly see it filtering, even at the point of all the way down to the city from the castle.
It doesn't dilute at all.
It doesn't dilute at all or disperse at all. It just stays like ribbons that don't break up into the water. Or you've just got massive tons of it pouring out of this tiny little well all the
Again,
time.
me going like, how the heck do you keep producing basically blood, which is what I'm assuming this is, or whatever liquid this happens to be, and it somehow remain like you're losing me again, game. Unless this is so freaking
running
magical.
supply. Like, maybe it is. Maybe it's a magical liquid.
That sounds ridiculous, though.
It seems like a lot of magical work.
And also, that
energy.
sounds like a damn amount. Like it does. It just sounds like too much effort. And going, why wouldn't you just let it dissipate? It would be way more effective, and also people would drink it.
Or it could be, we're studying something down here, and this just happens to do this because we need to drain this thing, and we just didn't think about where it goes. Well, of course you have a drain pipe on your factory.
Right.
You need to get rid of stuff.
Right?
We're polluting the river? What do you mean? We're just building things here.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It could be malicious or not. You never know.
Mm.
Marvelous little creatures, aren't they? So fascinating, so evil. I'm gonna die. I was gonna do it.
Honestly, it'd probably help.
So effective at disposal.
You all act like you've never had pigs before.
Are the beetles in reference to the liquid? Are the bones soaked in liquid and the beetles are swimming through it and chewing on them? Did we say dry white bones?
Yeah, they did say.
So there's dry white bones and dry beetles, and then on the sides of the chamber there's liquid.
Yeah, I don't
running down?
understand the mechanics of this. It's fine.
I'm lost.
I'm also going so effective at disposal. Again, you guys
The
act like
doctor's
pigs don't
corpses
exist.
disappear. Well, if we're not studying the bones, why use beetles? Like, beetles are for removing soft flesh.
Yeah.
Like, so, what do you do with the bones then? Because they're specifically for saving the bones and getting rid of the flesh.
Yeah, like
But not everybody appreciates a good show.
But that's why I mentioned pigs. Pigs will eat everything.
They'll eat
Pigs
the whole
are
thing.
way more effective than
They will
beetles
eat
are.
bones as well, but it's harder to keep pigs. They're bigger.
Yeah, but it still feels like whining and complaining. Pigs also are a part of your economy in terms of then you can feed them to people, which sounds terrible. Like they eat people and then
you feed them to people. It's fine. I mean, we do that to cows. We grind them up and feed them back to themselves. You know, why not us?
Oh yeah, I think chickens too, technically speaking.
But not everybody appreciates a good show. So many people got squeamish when we tossed the bodies in.
I mean, it's an effective way to control
disease. It's small enough that you're not really tossing bodies in. You're sort of curling them into a fetal position and gently setting them in there.
Especially because I don't actually know how big that well is. Like, and also, are the beetles crawling out? Is that what we're trying to show? But
I mean,
if they are that lethal, then why would you let them get out?
Well, and the beetles aren't necessarily lethal. They're just disposal devices. So what I've got going on here is you've got a platform that the beetles live in that you set the corpse on that lets the liquid drain out through the sides of the platform and that then drains out through ducts in the well type structure.
I'm also like, though, that doesn't make any sense. If you know anything about mortician's table, so this is even more graphic, there's actually, like, they do drain bodies on those tables, and even on the tables where they do
if you're doing dissection, you want the body drained of a lot of blood first, otherwise it makes a weird mess. Also, the congealing blood causes
under the body actually causes a lot of problems.
Like the pooling, so it depends on what you're doing, but if your corpse was alive, you're going to lose the blood when you cut it open because the heart's going to pump most of it out.
Right.
I would say, but so the red liquid is going to be like decomposed body turning into fluid. I don't know what the red liquid, I want to know what the red liquid is. That's what it is. I just want to know because there's not that much blood to flow continually over great amounts of time with dry white bones from one corpse.
Yeah, no,
it's got to be something.
There's actually quite we don't have that much blood in our bodies, y'all.
And the blood doesn't last that long and stay blood and continue flowing. Like we're watching it flow out right now. Well, now you've had the full tour. Any questions, comments, concerns? Why would he do this? Not he would never do this. Of course he's done it. He's spooked by the fact that this is what he did. This is the only logical place that he could have been locked up, and he's shown that he was infected with the plague, so he would have been locked in one of those cells as a doctor having the plague. He's described all of this already. Yeah. Why would we just argue with him and say he would never do this?
No, it's very silly. Also, I'm going, why would we talk about he? Because right now, again, we have no background on the whole story with this anyway, so I'd just be like,
we haven't established with Valdemar that we're only talking about this doctor and nothing else.
Right? I'm like, why wouldn't we talk about everything here? Like, that's my concern, going, okay, so what were you doing here?
Not why would he do this, so what was the purpose of all of this? We are, like this experience is, I am so invested in him, I don't care about anything else at all, nor can I think about any of this other stuff. All I want to know is about him. So you're not really investigating just to investigate.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are outing ourselves really bad. Why would he do this? Why would he do this? Why? Why do you need a why? What why? Besides a love of science. Though I suppose he was the same way, always rattling on about consequences when the patients were going to die anyways.
I mean, if you were potentially... So what I'm guessing here really is that there was some infection that was basically started in the castle itself. Something was caused, and they were trying to fix a thing that was already caused by something in the castle. And it sounds like the doctors didn't know. So we're trying to solve a problem that had popped up because of something else in the castle. What else is here?
It sounds a little bit like that. I was going to say, on the other hand, since we know nothing about our history or how the plague broke out or the past of anything at all ever, we have very little information. There could have been a plague in the city, and then doctors in here started working on the plague in the city, and then started perpetuating the cycle of the plague by draining the water of plague victims or liquid related to the plague victims back into the aqueducts.
Right? Which seems
so you could have had it start out there and then, perpetuate it from in here. The reason they do quarantines is because they're trying to stop self-perpetuation in an area and spreading.
Right.
Anyway, I steel my nerves. I may not like the answer, but I have to ask. What reasons did he give, then? Okay. You weren't here during the plague, were you? Were we or not? We'd love to learn this about ourselves.
Yes. Good. This was no mere sniffle.
This was no mere sniffle. Years upon years of people feeling a little bit under the weather, on day 1, and being dead by day 3. Do you know, we ran out of room to bury them all, so we burned them. Plague pits and burnings are very common.
Yep.
Even then, bodies piled up in the streets, faster than we could cart them away, and everyone still breathing. That's not a body, by the way, that's still a person. And unless you're in charge of it all and no one was policing you at all.
This one was just a corpse in waiting. So like, if you were alive, you basically were running. So we're just talking about...
I'm not dead yet! We're getting better!
No, I'm
running out! You're dead!
Dong.
Just a corpse in waiting. From anyone else, the words would sound funeral. But
funereal?
Funereal.
Funereal?
Funereal? Maybe.
I think it's funereal, actually.
Funereal. But
it's a ringing dirge.
But Valdemar's eyes shine with a fell glee. That's fine.
I mean, you're definitely a creature, we know.
Clearly, it's fine. Against those thousands, what's a few more bleeding out a little early, in pursuit of a cure? Necessary sacrifices. Ends always justifying means.
Everyone loves using it.
I miss those days. It was so much simpler back then.
And this is why everybody, when they don't understand the complexities of society and life...
I am with you, nerd. Despite everything I've seen so far, I feel like I haven't gotten the answers I want.
Yes.
Yes, it's true. But you haven't asked very informed questions either. Like, maybe I wasn't here during the plague. You're right. How did the plague start?
I know.
Also, why were we researching it in a pit? Where are the other doctors now? Did they all die? How many were there originally? Was Lucio leading the investigation of this plague? Who is your boss? Like, all of these would be valuable things. Nope. Only asking about Julian. Nothing else.
I have no other feelings except Julian.
What did Julian see down here to make him confess? I'd like to look at the cells, please. That'd be lovely. Because that's clearly where he needed to look.
Maybe?
He mentioned his old office. Maybe there's a clue there. Yes. Was he in his office during the last masquerade? Because it was Lucio's birthday that was a masquerade, right?
Yes, okay. Yes. That's every time the masquerade was always on his birthday.
Yes, locked inside. He'd come down here with a little case of the plague, you see? Such a shame that he was one of the few who survived it. I was looking forward to prying open that skull. Then again, today might be my lucky day after all.
So it starts in the brain? Is it like a brain fever?
I don't
Especially
know.
considering the fact that it goes through the eye. So a lot of times, typically, you have some sort of contamination in that area. Yeah,
usually the area you have really extreme symptoms is because of there's something going on there, like a lot of pressure or something. Which office was his? Valdemar tilts their head towards a barred wooden door on the far left. I love that. I'm sorry, far wall. I just love this. I gesture with my pointy little ear tops. Blink over there. It's great. He left a number of personal effects. I never understood it, but I suppose he was attached to them.
You mean like a starched cape?
Well, I hope he left, I assume he left a whole outfit of his in there somehow. Okay, so you're saying on the night of the murder, you stripped out of all of your normal clothes and left them in your office, and then ran upstairs to Lucio's room.
Maybe he was trying to decontaminate that? But that also then, again, where I'm like, the levels of
them on again. If he's afraid everyone else is going to catch the plague, why put them on again?
Yeah, see, I'm having that problem, though, too, but that's like the thing of where we were both going, oh my god, he's touching us with poison flower. What are you doing? Death flower.
Put death flower pollen on your face. It's lovely.
Let me crush things and then go,
It's fine.
It's a cream, you put it on your skin.
I approach the door. A barred window is set into it, at eye level. Inside, I can see a cot, a desk, a few shelves. It looks lived in, almost homey, if such a thing is possible. So this one is not a single-person cell. This is something else, and it's actually an office. Okay, but it doesn't... Did he store his clothes maybe on the shelf in there? The longer I look, the more strongly I feel it. A sense of peace. I have now discovered what I wanted? This must have been his refuge from the horror outside. I can feel an echo of his presence worn into every stone.
Into the very stone.
Thank you. Long fingers close on my shoulder, and Valdemar leans on me, peering into the room. I pull away, startled. They don't move, apparently leaning on nothing, watching me with a ghastly smile. They probably did just leave their hands steepled. The one here and the other one with a torch. I bet they did.
It would be so funny.
Let me inside. Oh, well, suit yourself. They unbar the door and let me in.
Wait, was it difficult for us to get in there? You're kidding.
We could have just unbarred the door. I mean, really.
I need you to do it. I'm too short.
Serve me. I cannot lift this bar. I'm not athletic.
Sounds reasonable. You look you're like down here.
You know, I honestly, I only had to lift my arm at the elbow to put it on your shoulder. It's fine.
It's fine, Valdemar. I'm not even that tall.
No, you're fine. I'll just be out here, overcome with nostalgia.
At least, I like you. You can probably begin.
They seem fine.
Yeah.
Like, all right, the moment the door closes behind me, why does the door close? I cautiously lift the mask away from my mouth.
Why?
Why? I should have been making narrative this whole time. The moment the door closes behind me.
It's true. I kind of forgot. I
thought about it. I just thought if I was narrating everything with the moment the door closes behind me, it would just be obnoxious.
When them talking probably would have been a good idea, but also with them talking and you talking, both of the mask on, I would have been like,
it'd have been a little rough. Well, one has an accent and is breathy, and the other, but still. Anyway, so I didn't go for it. The bird skull candle holder is amazing. Why did they close the door? Why did we let them close the door? Why not leave the door open? The air inside is stale, but not nearly as putrid as it is outside. I bet. What is the writing like if you don't wear the mask? I suddenly want to know. Relieved. I tear off the mask. Relieved of what? What do you think the mask is doing for you? The room is small. I can smell biological contamination, viruses, and bacteria. So I'll just take the mask off once I know they're not there.
We are talking about a certain period in history where they believed that the smell was the thing that caused the disease. So that's what happened. Like a lot. So just in case you guys aren't informed, which is very possible you guys already are. But the thing is this is referring to, I'm pretty sure, that there was a belief in Europe that if there was a terrible, basically, smell, that was the smell that was causing the disease. It was not the fact that it's tiny little invisible things, because they couldn't see them.
It's true. Once we had microscopic technology, the world changed.
Like, radically. It was wild. However, there was actually lots of people who had, over the years, and it was, like, around them who actually talked about it. And there was lots of discussions about it, and a lot of people would shit on them for it.
It's true. They go, no, there's nothing smaller than what you can see. And they're like, no, there really is.
There really is.
The room is small, cramped, and damp. But somehow, it feels cozy and welcoming. You know what I should have done? I should have gotten like a red Solo cup and just talked into it for the plague mask sound. That'd have been amazing. Right. There's a cot in the corner, rumpled from hours of tossing and turning. Sounds like how he sleeps.
Probably. And also, how do we know that he tossed and turned? Maybe he was like so freaking paranoid you just freeze.
Honestly, when he was sleeping next to us, he seemed to sleep like a tent pole, still as anything. All right, like a board, straight as a board.
And also, it doesn't mean anything that he was tossing and turning. It could just literally mean that he's bad about making his bed.
He doesn't. Julian, goes to Julian. Julian, I've investigated your workspace in your old office, and what I have to say is you didn't make your bed.
Why did you not make your bed?
Why didn't you make your bed? You know what? I don't care. You should make your bed. A set of crooked shelves are mounted over the cot. One holds a row of bottled leeches, long since shriveled up.
Poor babies.
I was going to say, no, poor babies. The others support little hand-carved trinkets and a few molding books. I was like, molding books?
I know,
like making molds?
On how to do that. Honestly,
like doing molds and filling things. A desk is shoved up against the wall. Papers are scattered haphazardly on it. You are an untidy individual, dear.
Constantly.
You are stressed. Your environment reflects it.
I really hope we honestly do not spend time cleaning up after him, because I hate that trope. I'm sorry.
The inkwell is toppled over and the quill is discarded carelessly to the side. I try to imagine what it was like, working in here, death looming over my shoulder, knowing that beyond the castle walls, Vesuvia itself was dying, crumbling under the onslaught of the plague.
The question is, again, how did the plague start?
Yeah, that's what we're like, when did the plague start? Was it attached to anything?
Was it a combination, actually, of several different things? So people talk about it, actually, the Black Plague wasn't really just one thing. It was a combination of a series of really bad things
Happening
that
at
came
once.
together to all make a really horrible melting pot of suck.
A conflux of
disease, both airborne and, like that you could pick up, and cleanliness was bad, and how people took care of their animals.
And people kept importing things and exporting
and also high concentration of people, bad waste systems and removal systems, bad sewers.
Yep.
It was
a lot of it was vermin and waste systems. Like the primary contributors were rampant vermin and waste systems combined with personal hygiene.
Yep, and vermin though also including like mosquitoes and other bugs and things like that.
A lot of the big culprits though were like the hantavirus. You had rats and rat droppings.
Right.
So
I think
it
I should have said
animal
it wasn't
droppings.
just rats. It was actually mostly gerbils.
When I say rats, I mean rodents.
Right.
Rodents, I mean. Pardon me. Thank you.
They were, because remember, they were like, no, we need to absolve the rat.
It's
the
not
rat actually
just rats.
and
it is really
fleas.
And rats actually can be or have really good hygiene. In fact, most rodents have really good hygiene.
Well, the thing actually is, I think they actually said it's not just the rats; it was what the rats carried, which was the fleas.
I can picture Julian sitting at his desk so clearly that for a moment I think he really is there. It's a little wild. We're hallucinating, Julian. Hallucination? Hallucination?
A hallucination?
My magic tugs at the back of my mind. You could see him. It seems to whisper. Could I call up a memory ghost?
Sure, that would be great.
Do?
Hey, are we suddenly
magical
a memory
again?
doctor? Like the person in the street, the memory merchant or whatever? Now we can do it too? I'm like, what is our magical tree skill? Like, we seem to go everywhere. What is our discipline?
So the memory merchant has got to be a magical something. Yeah, I forgot about them when I was listing magical peoples. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I
focus a little more. Maybe. Chase the memory. This
sure.
seems like it actually would be important to the game.
You're kidding.
Like, this seems like a paid choice that if you don't find out more about this investigation that you're already kind of suck at, that you'd be in trouble. We're just going to chase the memory.
Yeah.
So is this going to screw with our memory spell, basically, because we're interacting with memories?
Maybe, I don't know.
Dude, you are so edgy in your half-undressed state of, I will work on this.
However, it's fair. If you're like fever, we don't know what some of the characteristics of this.
I don't know whether it's
feverish,
hot.
Is it like...
Yeah, I don't know whether it seems like it might be cold down in the dungeon, but we commented on the temperature, not at all, only on the smell of it.
I know.
And the feel of it.
But I'm saying like him being hot, though, because he's sick.
I don't know if it's associated with a fever at all. Did Valdemar say fever and then dead in 3 days, or was it like...
This is feeling a little off.
A little off, yeah.
Like, that's not a descriptor at all. What are the symptoms? Nobody's talking about them.
Yeah. I'm just saying that the framing of the image is very edgy. It's funny.
Right.
It's kind of funny. Hang on, what? What do you got?
His hair's on the wrong side.
Oh no, your bangs have been flipped. No!
Okay.
All right, so, see, he was so distressed that he just styled
his hair.
His hair used to always be that way, and then he styled it over because of his eye. How about that?
Oh,
so people who knew him before would be like, you've changed your part. And him being like, I hate that association, back off.
Uh-huh. And chewing on his lip again.
Yeah, and nibbling his lip. He only chews on that one side,
It's true.
He really does. It's just... yeah, like, it's just that side.
I think this picture actually was drawn one way and then was inverted. If I had to guess.
It's
also,
possible.
I feel like I'm going to be picky here, but the hand is really tiny.
You're
like the one on his forehead.
Compared to his arm or his wrist.
And like the rest of his face. So one of the things, at least as me having done art before,
anatomy.
And I know it in terms of anatomy, I would say you really want to go more for really where you have your palm kind of down, like you have the end of your palm down under your chin, and then if you can reach up your fingers, you pretty much go to about like the top of your forehead.
Measuring hand against face is a good way to do it.
Uh-huh. Now, that's not saying that he can't have small hands. I'm just like, he's always been described as having extremely long hands, like in long fingers. And you're like, woo, he has tiny fingers. What about the other side? So is it in the brain? Like the thing of going, I had to cut open the brain.
Like, does it make you
disease
crazy?
is in the brain, though.
Yeah.
That's probably a terrible thing to watch.
Yeah.
Like, if you can help,
oh, damn.
Why would you resist?
Right? At the same time going, it's just a memory, it's already happened, but I am so sorry to see you in so much hurt.
It sucks.
They would. It's a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could learn from it. All right.
Got what? Why does
The vision fades. We stop being able to remember anything at this point. The vision fades because you have to investigate elsewhere.
Hang on, we've also got a problem, because, you got to consider that if we let you know here, we were only 11 books in to 21.
Sorry, we need more chapters. You can't know yet.
Yep, no.
We could have just had our magic be tugging at us, exhausting itself.
Maybe.
And so we got tired and couldn't do any more. The magical damper that apparently was here earlier or is there out in the hall isn't apparently right here.
I know. Why is that such a specific... Sorry, that seems really weird.
Or maybe it's only for light and not other magic? Specifically, you must use these torches and nothing else.
Well, that's it.
OSHA demands it.
Right, because we love to burn things here.
Well, we can't disregard OSHA, can we? In case we gaze...
Primordial OSHA.
I cast my gaze about for anything medieval OSHA.
Out
of the ordinary. I mean, there's plenty out of the ordinary as long as you don't know what you're doing. Now that I'm looking closely, there's something strange about the far wall. The chalk has faded with time, but if I focus, I can trace a familiar outline. It's the symbol I saw on Julian's neck. The mark of his curse. His ability to take others' wounds onto himself and heal from them. Why is it here? On this wall? My mind races. Julian never did tell me when Astra gave him that mark. Or how. Could it be that it wasn't Astra's doing at all? Interesting. I'll just blame it on him. It's fine. Why would you want them to think that Astra cursed you? Filled with a surge of energy, I turned to search the room again, looking for something. Anything related to it.
So does that mean that he can actually do magic?
Or that someone did magic on him and he just lied about it. I know you're associated with Astra, but I immediately had a crush on you. So I thought if I defamed him a little, maybe 1, you wouldn't ask more questions, and 2, you might like me better. Huh? Please? My eyes catch on a stack of books on Julian's desk. I scatter them across his desk, dusting off the covers, and stop when I find what I'm looking for. The same symbol, emblazoned in a silver on a book cover. I open it, scan the contents. You could just take it with you. It's in a language I can't read. But I have seen these words before. Take it to Astra. In one of Astra's books back in the shop. From the looks of it, it's been here since Julian was here working on the plague. What was he doing with it?
We are great at detecting age. Sorry, I'm fine.
I guess. Questions swirl in my mind, and somehow I know. This book has one more secret to show me. I page through the book, letting my intuition guide me.
Man, magical intuition is great. It lets you know what items you should pick up in a hunt and click adventure.
In your hidden object adventures, which we've done several of, they have definitely a different tone than this. But your hunt and click hidden object adventures, it really is like I found 45 hidden objects here. The one I need, which I found near the beginning. This is the thing. And you're like, how did you know that was different than any of this other rubbish?
Especially when you haven't even gotten any further along into the game, and it's like, I'm going to need it for this thing. You're like, what thing?
Wouldn't it be amazing if you walk into a room and you're like, I know exactly which item I'm going to need later in this game, and that's it, done.
I would honestly love that.
That'd be so useful. I am not a hoarder at all. I walk past things and I know instantly if I will ever need that in my whole life. Done! Do you want to buy this book? Doesn't shine with the will needed in my life quest, so no thanks.
No, goodbye.
I'm good. There are notes scribbled in the margins in Julian's now familiar handwriting. How often have we seen him write? Just we're staring at his pages, I guess, and at his other desk before?
I mean, we looked at his other desk, and I'm like, is it familiar? I guess we could...
We could use familiar as in I can recognize it, not like familiar like I know it very well.
Yeah, I'm like, familiar to me, though, just seems to declare itself as a little bit more intimate.
Very common, yeah. It's hard to decipher his handwriting, but if I focus, I can make out some of the words. Unmade bed and sloppy handwriting? Really?
Oh, well.
I know your life was in danger, but really? I mean, you were dying, but I...
Dream, fever, chills, delirium, or portent? Saying symbol, raven's head. What does it mean?
Near the back, a torn page is wedged into the book. The words, I want to believe, are scrawled across it. I turn the page over and gasp in shock. Julian must have been feverish when he made this drawing. The lines slant and jitter alarmingly. In places, he pressed hard enough to break through the paper, but the figure is unmistakable. Heart hammering in my chest, I pull out the deck and flip through the cards until I find the one I want. The Hanged Man. Okay. The card is silent, offering me no answers or guidance. Well, he must be really familiar with Astra's deck if he specifically drew it. Like, because if you don't know, there are tons of different tarot with many different designs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, he specifically drew this version.
Some people also are very personal about their tarot decks of going, I will only take a deck that I feel a personal kinship with.
Like, with a theme matches with something I believe in.
Right.
Yeah.
And also sometimes tarot decks, they're really like, I'm only going for a tarot deck specifically made by a specific person, or in a certain style.
Or with a certain ideology behind it that's going to help me figure out what I want.
Like, I'm still sometimes impressed where you'd be like, you have this entire unified culture that all can accept this one tarot deck. Now, I know that's not true, but based off of the only one that we've seen...
How many other tarot decks are there? And also, if this is the Arcana, is this not a unique singular object that was made by itself? Like, no, not necessarily by Astra, but for Astra, or is handed down from generations, like a unique, a one-of-a-kind creation.
Which is great, and that's awesome.
But then how would you know what this symbol looks like?
Who's the Arcana?
I would love to know who made the Arcana. Okay, so if Astra did make the Arcana, in Solitaire, the original one, he definitely does need to make that one.
Right,
and do it.
That would be in that game.
Our headcanon first game, or prequel game, Solitaire, Astra's going to be going around, dating everyone, and then solving their problems and wiping their memory, and creating this deck as he's having trouble understanding things. It'd be great.
Sounds great.
Done. All right. No, it's waiting for me to find the answer on my own.
It's like, I want to help you.
What I am is I'm an edgelord wizard going, Harry, find it inside yourself.
Honestly, okay, so I have to say I hate that trope.
Of the mentor just says you have to figure it out on your own, because if I tell you, you won't learn. Do you know how many people learn by being told? Do you know what a classroom is? People learn by being told.
There's also the thing, though, too, is that some people learn better being told. If I tell you, how do you think math works? I have to tell you how it works, not go, here, good luck learning physics.
So what we do is we start with young children, and we just put visual symbols in front of them, and we do not speak to them, because that's telling rather than showing.
I know! Isn't that weird? We have so much, basically, almost like weird classism of going, if you can't figure it out on your own, you're crap, except that we assume that children need to be taught. And if I need to teach you as an adult, you're an idiot.
Well, also that teaching as an adult, it should be presenting you with all the information and come to the logical conclusion. I hate it so much. Anyway, talk to each other. Just tell each other the answer. Oh, but someone won't learn. Yes, they will. They just might not learn in the painful, challenging way that you might think they should, or they might not create the logic connection that you're hoping for to get them there. However, if you go back and tell them a logic connection that could have got them there, they could also use that told information in the future. I don't have a learning disability. No, I'm fine.
That's fine.
I closed my eyes and breathed deeply, ordering my thoughts. Yesterday, Julian came down here to find his cure and answers. I haven't found anything that looks like a cure. I don't know what answers he found.
Maybe he's trying to kill himself because he still has the plague. He's just been putting it off somehow.
What if it's not a cure, it's just treatment?
Yeah. But, you know,
but I know
chronic
that
issues
somehow
are a thing.
This book holds the key. Sometimes you just have chronic issues and you use treatment. And that chronic issue might be something commutable. And you just are careful not to commute it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you done? Let me just take the book with me. The call makes me jump, and I hastily shove the book into my bag. How big is our bag? How small is the book?
Enormous.
We're just walking around with like one of those giant like Versace bags, like they can hold a small car.
I want a little backpack, honestly. Like at this point, I kind of just want a backpack.
You know, we suddenly have to hold things and need an inventory. Like,
what if we had a fanny pack?
Oh my god!
Yes!
We put it in our fanny pack, and we just no, it's an auto. We tie it closed gently. We lace it together, like you lace up those boots with the grommets. You just lace it zigzag back and forth across the front. Yes.
So somewhere in Nerd's collection, we have a fanny pack.
Yes.
Or we've got a little bag over the shoulder. We have a little fanny pack. We probably have a backpack too, because I am here. I'm prepared for nothing.
For nothing. I just take all my notes with me everywhere. You know what? The entire shop's in my backpack. Let me help you out. It's fine.
Valdemar.
Whoa.
Seems a bit much.
Hi.
Don't you think?
Slightly overprepared, aren't we? All right. I can do this.
It's fine. I love the mental image.
I fumble with the mask's straps and set it firmly over my face again. Good job.
I'm proud of you.
I have to pursue this mystery later. With one last backwards glance, I step out of Julian's old office and cell. We're just doing, it's just an office. I was imprisoned down there. That's a cell.
That's a cell.
I've seen enough. Are you sure? Are you very, very sure? I I could show you something more, but it might make you deeply uncomfortable. Plus, I forgot to put the lid back on the beetle pit. Oh, well.
I'm also like, that would be very silly, being like you have a beetle pit where the beetles can get out, but you've also haven't said that the beetles actually attack people. They don't really do anything. They don't seem to be scarabs from the mummy.
We didn't describe them getting out at all. That's just in the illustration for some reason.
Well, that's why I was like, are they getting out? That's why I was asking. Like, why?
Maybe you are. It's almost time for the trial. That trial, silliness, isn't it? You'll need to testify, won't you? They pull their mask back up to cover their mouth and nose and head for the door. I do so look forward to hearing what you have to say. Humming, Valdemar leads me out of the dungeon.
Oh, no, they sing Flight of the Bumblebees.
It just sounds like a kazoo. It's a relief to take off the mask and apron. What? Oh, God. I see. Oh, yes, bright and cheery down in the lab of horrors. It's fine, we're fine. I know.
Tulips. I love this.
I am so glad to take off the mask and apron. I feel like I need to wash my hands. You probably do. I breathe deeply to clear the smell of dried herbs from my lungs. It's important when there's smell in your lungs. I don't know. It's fine. As we ascend the surface, my mind whirls with 100 thoughts. And the fact that I need to know if Nadia knows if this place exists, because that would be really important to know. Actually.
I'm also like, why wouldn't she know? If you're having that many people filter into that location...
Yeah, you've got...
You guys, how did this remain a secret?
69 at least doctors.
We assume.
As a total, even if they were not all there at once, because you keep numbering people up even as the other ones die off or quit or go somewhere else.
Right.
So you've had at least a total of that many going in and out. They didn't live down there. They lived somewhere else. And then they were only, like partitioned to down there once they were sick. So where did all these people come from and go? And also, how did the servants not know? And if Nadia knows, how would Portia not know? Unless, again, this has all been shut down since before Portia ever got here.
But that doesn't make sense then for Nadia. Like,
but Nadia should still... No,
yeah.
Unless, what happened at the beginning of your marriage? Well, you see, what happened was, I stayed in my room and I never left until he died. Because I hated everything. I went out for the night of the ball, but, you know.
I don't think so, though. That doesn't seem, especially where she talks about the masquerades were his favorite thing, and also they were grand. And,
I know.
She sounds like she's been there, so it would be ridiculous. She went out. I'm also like, you've got to be kidding me. People wouldn't notice people wandering in and out, and you've got dead, I'm like, also, dying people you're dragging in there? We haven't connected to anything. Nadia hired us to solve a mystery in reference to the plague that was going on, I assume, while, during this time that he threw his birthday and had the masquerade, because that is where the timeline lines up. And so you're throwing a giant party while your city is plague-stricken and laid low, and you don't notice doctors going in and out of this incredible place, but also like, damn, you're throwing a giant, beautiful masquerade when much of your population is under duress, and you also have a plague rampantly spreading itself? Let them eat cake. Everyone turns around and pull out the guillotine. That's fine. Like, damn, I'm surprised actually they haven't tried to kill you too, Nadia. Like, holy crap. Nothing inside the dungeon pointed to Julian being guilty of Lucio's murder. Did he really decide that hanging for one crime was as good as hanging for another? We don't know that this is criminal. Vivisection is not always criminal. In fact, murdering thieves and unwanteds is also not always criminal. And plague victims isn't always criminal if you're doing scientific research. So we don't know that he actually was doing anything criminal unless we know our law system. Now, I'm not going to endorse that in my current day and age because, like, wow, but... Yeah.
I'm not saying moral, I'm saying criminal. Yeah, if he wants to hang for criminal reasons, then it has to be within the law. If he wants to hang for moral reasons, he can take care of that himself. He could go have a blast by himself. The thing is that's very different. If you want the law to absolve you of your moral standing, if you haven't broken the law, they won't do it. Officer, take me in. I have moral guilt. What have you done? Things that I think are inappropriate but are well within the law. No, go home. Get a therapist. That's the other thing, though, too, is like if he was absolved by his country anyway for performing these things, why is he so guilty? I don't know. Again, we don't know the rules around any of this. No kidding. Or is there another reason why he surrendered? Maybe. Who knows? Don't worry. We're just going to wait. Poof! We are out of the castle. We are done. We didn't talk to anyone. We didn't check in with anyone. Nothing. Wow. Even though the Countess only made the announcement this morning. Wait, what? She announced the trial this morning in the trial's happening now. She didn't want to check in with us or talk to us or train us on how to do this before it's happening?
Oh my god,
We didn't get a briefing or a debriefing, and she has no idea what we're going to say at all, and no interest in it until it's live in front of the trial. That has a risk of making her look ill-informed. Like, seriously, if your leadership goes, I had no idea that was a piece of information, she should have all the evidence and everything before the trial.
Unless we're basically going to be using her as a manipulative tactic for going like, we're even surprising the countess and going, oh, woe is...
Well, you see, in my land, the people who were going to make the decision had to know nothing about it beforehand. So I'm not even involved in this trial, but I'm going... Why wouldn't we have any conversation with anyone? This seems very strange. My legal system is that no one will know. And you'll all be fine practicing it because, well, I know it's a very different standard. You don't have to know anything. That's how it works.
What?
The whole town seems to be here. That's fine. One of the city guard waves me down and escorts me into the coliseum. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what protocol is. I don't know what's expected of me. Hope they explain it while I'm in here.
Oh, God.
And it just keeps going. For a moment, there's cheering.
What?
Wild cheering. We are going to fight it out. All right. One lawyer against the other lawyer. Who thinks he did? Who thinks he didn't?
Fight!
Fight! So you're just like, all right. I think he's innocent. We got our Mortal Kombat.
I was about to say, like, swinging back and forth. Yeah.
Our Mortal Kombat cycle. Yeah. Like our little animation cycle.
No. It wasn't even animation. It was actually supposed to be like actual motion capture. So those are actually like people in costumes. So if you don't know that about the Mortal Kombat franchise originally, historically speaking,
it was motion capture.
It was motion capture. God, it was so freaking wild.
It was super cool. Anyway, but I was like, you just have us down there, you know, with our backpack and our pouch and our fanny pack, standing in the ring, and then whoever thinks he's guilty being like, you will fight this contender first. You will fight the next contender next. Be like, can I potentially get someone stronger than me in here to represent his case?
Help!
I would like to call in a substitute champion. That would be great.
Who's gonna stand in for me? I'm also like, where's Astra? We have no support. We're gonna just do it on our own.
Also going, if Astra is our master, why isn't he interacting with what's clearly a huge learning process for us and something very new to do with who we are and what we're becoming?
I don't know. Anyway.
What does mastering and apprenticing mean here? Because we haven't been interacting with him at all. Now, he says he was a shit teacher. He did say that. So maybe this is part of just him being that, well, the fact that I never talked to you or interact with you at all, and all the teaching that happens is you observing me, basically. Then
I'm trash.
I'm trash. Astra. # trash. Poor baby. We don't even know him, and we're like, all we've done is shit on him the whole time.
Don't worry, we'll get to you.
We know
in
nothing.
Like
two or
3 more months.
It's fine. As soon as we get through everything else. All right. For a moment, I'm overwhelmed by the din. When I look up towards the boxes, the sun blinds me. I'm guessing
Nadia?
I'm thinking someone with more of a judge. I don't know. Order! I squint and shade my eyes until my vision clears. Yeah, like I said, more judge appearance.
Shoot, you did this one? You did do this one.
I don't remember how I did him. It was so unmemorable. It was just, I forgot it completely. Let's see. I said order. All of you, quiet. Oh, no. Oh, really? Chapter 3 at the same time. It's all at once. All right.
Fine. Timing was great.
That was lovely.
We are gonna duel to the death with Mortal Kombat.
It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna learn how to roundhouse kick. We'll find our special move. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stand there with our little bobbing movement, our little repetitive, cycle, and we're gonna be holding the Arcana in one hand and just flinging cards, attacking people. That's gonna be our move. We're just gonna fling cards at them, and you're from a distance. You know?
No! Suddenly we're gonna do the Danganronpa, where words are flying by in the sky, and you have to hit the correct one with your little Arcana card. Ding! Pew!
This is incorrect. A live puzzle battle, and we are going to die.
Yes! All right. Well, hey, this has been Scandal,
and I have been Lies, and it was great playing with you. Bye.